And what we do in there will not be podcasted or televised. But what I can say is when we sing in one of these sacred chambers, things change and things happen that you just have to come and experience. So it's for the woman that is seeking and wants to truly connect and be able to go pray and walk in these lands with sovereignty and honoring the ancestors that have walked this land for millennia, but also the people that are still living on this land right now, taking care of it. So to walk in reverence, to pray with the ancestors, because they're all coming with us. They're all waiting for you to say yes.
Welcome back to the Cycle Starters podcast. I'm your host, Heather Rebecca Wilson, and today's episode is a really special return conversation with someone you already know and love, somebody I already know and love. Paola is the founder of Everyone Needs Healing and the creator of Take Me to Egypt, a luxury sacred journey into Kemet, ancient Egypt, designed for women who are ready to stop seeking and start arriving. Paola's work is rooted in ancestral healing, embodied sovereignty, and ceremony, especially through the portal of water as medicine. She's not offering a typical retreat or tour. She is opening a threshold. So this is Paola's second time on the show, and I'm so excited to have this follow-up because so much can shift between one conversation and the next, especially when someone is doing the kind of deep devotional work that she does with the land, with lineage and spirit. And so in this conversation, we're going to talk about what Kemet has continued to reveal to my sister here and what makes this journey different from Egypt as a destination, and who is being called to step into the temples, not as a spectator, but as someone remembering something ancient inside of themselves. And I'm also personally honored to share that I've been invited to join Take Me to Egypt as a guest teacher. So we'll talk about what it means to be in that container, what's being activated through it, and why this retreat is such a potent initiation. And then at the end of our conversation, I'll be offering Paola a mini Galactic Astrology reading, like I always do. And it's just a closing transmission to reflect what I see in her chart and the deeper soul currents underneath the work that she's building right now. Before we dive in, I have a favor to ask. If you are enjoying the content that we're creating here on the Cycle Starters podcast, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It really helps the algorithm get our episodes in front of more viewers. So thank you in advance for that. I truly appreciate the support. Also, please follow me on Substack. My highest tier membership, the Cosmic Awakening Circle, is on Substack. You can also join for free and receive my weekly-ish newsletter. I also want to talk about my other show called The Cycle Architect Sessions, and Paola has already been a guest on that show. That is just for paid subscribers, okay? So I will put the link to my Substack in the show notes below, but definitely if you are looking to be in community with other cycle breakers and other cycle starters who want to activate your highest soul mission, that is the place to be. And our conversation on that episode was fire. And actually, that's a free episode. So anybody can go check that out. I'll put the link in the comments below. So without further ado, let's welcome my sister, Paola, to the show. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Hi, Heather. Hi, community. So good to be back here with you guys. I'm so excited. November is so close now, Heather. Can't wait to be. Yes, I can wait. Let me correct myself. I can wait. Words, right? November is here so soon. And to tap into this sacred land with you, I'm so excited to hear your downloads and what you're receiving message wise from the Galactic ancestors. They always speak loud in images, so I'm curious to see what comes through for you.
Me too. Me too. Me too. I'm so excited for this. I mean, we really go deep into my pull to this trip on that episode of the Cycle Architect session. So definitely check that out. This retreat's coming up in November. And actually, we have some discount codes for people if they are interested in coming along with us. Those expire on the 23rd of July. So this will be coming out a little bit before that. So if this is calling to you, jump on those discount codes. You can DM me. You can always DM or email Paola as well. But we're going to have the greatest time. It's going to be life changing. Before we get into that, we did an episode over a year ago. You were one of the
Yes.
first episodes of the show that we did. And so I'll put a link to that episode as well, because you do talk about this spiritual retreat, because you've done this a few times. You're a veteran here. You're a veteran spiritual retreat leader. But for those who have not seen that episode, will you give us a refresher on your blood ancestry? Where are your blood ancestors from?
Absolutely. My blood ancestors that I'm aware of, the initial ones on my paternal side, are Helvetic, Celtic, from currently called Switzerland. And my mother's lineage is Taíno and Arawak, indigenous tribe from the island of Hispaniola, which is currently called Haiti.
All right. Well, congrats to the Swiss for making it pretty far in the World Cup. That's really exciting. Congrats to you. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm like going to be so depressed when the World Cup is over. But anyway, thank you for sharing that. I just love to share everybody's background because you and I, we're both multiracial people, right? I think it's interesting to people. Let's talk about this retreat. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the retreat. Like, can you tell us what inspired you to even put this together in the first place? You've done this a few times, and I'm sure you're going through your own growth and evolution each time you go. But what was the initial inspiration?
Such a great question. Yes, this is our fifth journey going, and in November will be our sixth because we have a journey in September as well. Initially, what has brought me to creating these retreats is a multi point occurrence or thread in my life. And I know we've talked about this when you did my astrology reading. When you tap in with us, we really get to connect these monumental moments that all bring in moments later on. And then you're like, oh my God, this was all perfectly curated, planned, and we didn't see it, or I didn't see it at that point. But so the initial point was when my father took me to Egypt when I was 16, turning 17. My father was helping a woman hold retreats in Egypt, and she's done them for many, many years. She was a medium, and her focus was our extraterrestrial, our star galactic families. And so she would take people and point out how certain buildings were built, what help and assistance they had from these star galactic families. And during one of the performances that me and our crew went to go see in Egypt, it was a desert temple performance. All of a sudden, as I was watching it, and I think it's the drums and just that rhythmic motion of what was happening in front of me, put me in a trance, unbeknownst to me, because I didn't know what was happening. I just started to see water. I started to see greenery, prophetic in a way. And then they stopped for a little bit, but that was one of those visions, in that pivotal time of my life while I was awake. And fast forward to almost 3 decades later, I am fasting because I'm sick, and I start having these dreams. I start seeing these visions, these dreams of groups of people, and initially a diverse group of women, melanated, all sizes, all shapes, all reflections, sitting on horses and camels overlooking the pyramids. That was like a constant vision they kept giving me. And at that time, I was still learning, and I'm still sometimes I have to kind of tune into like, what time are we talking about? Are you showing me the past? Are you showing me the future? The interpretation of what that means. But it kept coming up while I was on a massage table when my friend was at my house. And unbeknownst to me, she was meant to come with me. And that's why I think I felt that energy. I got off the massage table and I was like, we're going to Egypt. I saw it for the fifth time. This is the real thing. It sounds outrageous. It sounds like it makes no sense. Why me? But I have this relationship with the divine. When they show me things like this, it's not my job to question it, but to just put one step in front of the other and start creating it. And so that's how we ended up going to Egypt for our very first retreat in 2021.
Thank you for sharing that story. This is a pretty bold assignment for an individual, right? You said yes to something that's challenging to put together, to lead. You're going across the world and holding space for all of the attendees and the participants. And I think you've told me that people have life-changing experiences there. There's a lot of energy there. A lot of things come up for people while they're there. So I guess what I want to ask you is, who do you think this retreat is for? This is not a vacation. This is a spiritual retreat. This is a remembrance retreat. But can you speak to who this really is for?
Yes, great recap. It is definitely not a regular vacation, although we will create content and capture you in your magic. But that is absolutely not the focus. This is a journey for someone who is already on their quest, who had Egypt and Kemet in some form continuously show up in their lives. Having this connection of knowing, like, hey, I've been here before. And some of you, this might have just started to whisper to you, but a lot of you guys know inside of you, you've been there, you've lived there, you have a mission to do. And in the past, I would sugarcoat this a little bit. So it is a way of showing up brave to do the assignment that you know you came here to do. And no one will return the same as they arrived. That I can assure you. My job is to curate a space where you feel brave to unlock some of those depths, some of those traumas, some of those fears. And it is for the one that is searching for something inside of them that they know is ready to be unleashed. And fear will come up because it's something new. You've never done it. It might be the highest investment into yourself you've ever done. So that's part of an initiation. So things might come up for you to already work through before. But what's on the other side is a version of you that a lot of us look in the mirror and be like, hello, I've been waiting for you. And you know it in your soul. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this. You know this in your soul, right? And what we create is the opportunity to actually connect with these spaces intentionally, to touch things, to meditate, to go when there's the least amount of people. Or as you probably remember, we had the Great Pyramid of Giza reserved just for us for 2 hours so we can be in this pyramid by ourselves. And what we do in there will not be podcasted or televised. But what I can say is when we sing in one of these sacred chambers, things change and things happen that you just have to come and experience. So it's for the woman that is seeking and wants to truly connect and be able to go pray and walk in these lands with sovereignty and with honoring the ancestors that have walked this land for millennia, but also the people that are still living on this land right now, taking care of it. So to walk in reverence, to pray with the ancestors, because they're all coming with us. They're all waiting for you to say yes, because you might be the first one to go back home.
Beautiful. So beautiful. I cannot wait for this. Can you talk about the different locations we're going to be visiting? We'll put the link for the retreat in the show notes so people can get all the details, but give us some of the highlights.
Oof. I was just on a call yesterday and I was like, I think each of them are highlights, or I like to call them bangers, kind of from the artistic performance realm where you think of like start with a banger, middle, and make sure there's definitely a banger at the end. Each of those moments I think are incredible highlights because over the years, it gave me the opportunity to curate based on what people have said in the past and what they liked or what they would like more. But I touched on some of the highlights. I will try to do my best to be concise with this. A private ceremony in Great Pyramid of Giza is absolutely life-changing. Feeling sound vibrate in these ancient rocks and praying in this space, absolutely life-changing. Seeing the sunrise over the Sphinx and being able to meditate at her feet and feeling her frequency. Wow. Going to witness the lotus flowers grow again. I don't know if you were aware, but in ancient times, the blue lotus was growing everywhere, really opulently. Now it's tough for them to grow them because the environment is not very conducive. So we go to a lotus farm where you see them regrowing the lotuses. That's a really beautiful experience. And then we head to the south, which is where Nubian indigenous people and indigenous families are. And so we get to experience their beautiful, colorful town. Looks very African, Caribbean. It's spread throughout the whole diaspora from pink and blue and green and white houses everywhere. and being immersed in their culture, learning of how they live, holding a crocodile. Let me try to hold one of the little crocodiles that they hold as their house pets and have done that for ancient times as their protectors, and listening to their music and how they sing in their own indigenous Nubian language, and feeling, if you are melanated or in the BIPOC realm, feeling like, oh my God, I came home to my family again. Definitely highlights sailing on the Nile. Like you mentioned, water is a huge component, and it's what my guides continuously tell me: water is imperative, have it be throughout. And so we actually get to swim in the river Nile. And for some of you guys, you might know that when Egypt decided to create some dams along the Nile, they moved all the crocodiles to one side. So, yes, for safety reasons, but also to help with energy. But what happened due to that, now that the Nile is controlled, it doesn't flood anymore in the way that it did before. And so, when they created those dams, they knew they were going to flood some of these temples, they were going to be submerged in water. And so what they did is they moved certain temples from one location to the next. An Isis temple, Aset, is one of those temples. But the original gate of Isis is still there. It's standing in the water, and you can actually walk on the original ground. And so that's where we go and ask for permission and pray with her, swim in the Nile, and then go visit Isis temple. The temples are all magnificent for so many different reasons. Edfu Temple, temple of medicine and knowledge, where you get to see how old ancient medicine is, and surgery and women's health. And they had a whole physician team that was just focused on women's health. They had birth control. They knew how to make prostheses and amputate people, and they lived and they would bury them with their prosthesis toe. I mean, talking about wisdom and knowledge, if you are into that in history and knowledge, this is going to be so your jam. And then Komombo Temple, which is all about the crocodiles, the deity of Sobek, the deity that you see with the crocodile head and the human body, which is a protector energy in Egypt. We get to learn about a lot of these deities. Other highlight, of course, is when we are in Aswan, we get to spend 2 nights. We added 1 night. So when you ask me, what have I changed, is to create a little bit more room and a little bit more spaciousness. As you hear me listing all these things, you're probably like, oh, what, is there a break? Is there time off? Yes, time off is so important. And so in Ben Ben House, which is standing on a beautiful rock. The only way you get to go to this hotel is by boat. But we're going to pull up with the boat a la White Lotus style, if you know that show. If not, you got to go check out the Thailand version, and you get the feel of how this is going to be. So you pull up on the beautiful Felucca boat, and it's all white and blue, the entire hotel. So you feel like you're in the Egyptian Santorini. No other hotels. A little tuk-tuk takes you up, and that's where the Nubian family comes and sings and drums with us. And it has this beautiful infinity pool, jacuzzis in some of the suites. If you're going to book your VIP ticket, you'll have a jacuzzi. And one day is no program. Outside of, you guys might book your own private session with Heather or with Andrea or with me. Otherwise, we have at least a day or 2 days where there's nothing planned, because rest is so important to navigate this journey in a good way. And then we end by the beach. There's so much more to share. If you have more questions about certain particular temples, we can definitely tap into more. We spend 3 nights on the Nile on our own boats. And that's where we get to hear the magic of our beloved Heather, where she shares our galactic class. And that's where we get to do the ceremonies. Because some of you guys might not know, you're not able to pray outside in public unless it's a Muslim prayer. You're not allowed to meditate or do yoga, things like that. They're quite strict. And so in order to be able to do that in a way that feels safe and brave, we do that on our own sailboats. Everybody will have their own room. We have a jacuzzi in the middle. Again, always the water to help uplift us and help us be able to surrender and let go what's coming up.
My gosh, I cannot wait. This is going to be so spectacular, so fabulous, so powerful. Thank you for sharing some of those details with us. Again, if you guys want to know all of the stops, right, all the places we're going to be visiting, go to the website for the retreat. All the details will be there. I'm so excited to teach my Galactic Astrology class to the group. Also, for VIP participants, I'm giving them a galactic astrology reading before we even get there. Okay. So you're going to get an activation before we go. And this is just perfect timing. This was so divinely organized because you and I have been talking about my attending and contributing since the beginning. I think since you first started going. And it was just always like, oh my God, I really want to go, but it's just not now. It's not the right time, la, la, la. And then last year in 2025, I got the call to expand my notion of ancestors to include not only blood ancestors, but our star ancestors. And so last year I became a quantum soul guidance galactic astrology practitioner. And so I really feel as a collective, we are learning more about the true history of this planet, the true history of humanity. And I think Kemet, ancient Egypt, is a huge part of this story. I'm so excited for this. And so what galactic astrology does is that it adds an outer layer of fixed stars, supercosmic points, black holes, and nebulas to the traditional tropical Western natal astrology chart to illuminate your soul's journey over eons of time. So it's something that allows us to connect to our multidimensionality, to connect to past lives, not only on Earth, but past lives that are off planet. And ancient Egypt, or Kemet, is very much associated with the Orion constellation, with the star Sirius A, the Lyran constellation, which is very, very prominent in my natal chart, in my galactic placements, and then also the fixed royal star Antares. And then there's even another layer to this. So I just got trained in interpreting ancient asteroids in one's natal chart. So there are so many ancient Egyptian Kemet related asteroids. So there's an asteroid Hathor, there's an asteroid Hatshepsut, there's asteroid Isis, asteroid Osiris, just to name a few. And so I can't wait to read everybody's chart who's going on this trip because it's going to blow your mind. I mean, I certainly, when I discovered my galactic placements, my head exploded and I felt a literal sensation of expansion, right? I just realized, oh my God, my soul is so old. It's so old. And I know Paola's is too. I know Paola has done this in a past life, probably many, many past lives. And so actually, I want to talk some astrology now. I want to give you your mini galactic reading. Are you ready?
Yes, so excited.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Amazing. So this is a mini reading, okay? So I'm just taking what I saw in your chart, in your galactic placements, just like the things that jumped out at me. A full 2-hour divine blueprint activation is something that we can do offline. If you guys are interested in getting your own galactic reading, go to heatherrebeccawilson.com/readings and you'll see all of the different offerings. So just so people know, your big three, your sun is in Sagittarius, right? You are Cancer rising and your moon is in Capricorn.
Yes,
I got that right.
yes,
Okay,
correct.
perfect. Okay, cool. So the first thing I do when I look at a galactic astrology chart is that I scan for certain galactic life theme markers. And for most people, they don't have any of these markers. But you actually have markers for 2 of the galactic life themes, which is pretty rare. So you have the markers for the teacher, guide, speaker, influencer. So Tony Robbins has a chart like that. Maya Angelou would be another example of somebody who has those markers. And then you also have the markers for the innovator, change maker, systems builder. So that would be like Henry Ford, Nikola Tesla. Okay, so this is really rare that you have both of these. So the first placement that caught my attention is your sun conjunct both the star Draco Etamine and the galactic center in the sign of Sagittarius. And the sun is where you shine, right? It's the sauce that you mix into everything that you do that makes you stand out from the 11 other astrological signs. And each sign is a spectrum of psycho-spiritual energy with a high expression and a low expression. And we actually dive deep into your big three in the previous episode that we recorded over a year ago. So if you want to watch that, you guys, I'll put the link to that episode later. But we're talking
That was
about her
such a good
galactic
one. That
placements
was such a
today.
good one.
It was a good one. So the sun represents who you are, the essence of who you are, right? Your creative energy, your life force energy. And the galactic center is often described as a cosmic broadcasting station. So it's a place where higher wisdom, truth, and expanded consciousness flow through. And so people with strong galactic center placements often feel called towards a larger mission. There's usually a deep yearning to understand truth beyond conventional narratives and to help others remember who they truly are. And so when I see this in your chart, I think about your work in Kemet and your devotion to creating experiences that aren't just educational or inspirational, but transformational. So you're not just simply sharing information, you're helping people access remembrance. So the galactic center, just for those of you who are new to all of this, that's the center of our Milky Way galaxy. So it's one of the 4 super cosmic points in galactic astrology. So Draco Etamin adds another layer of ancient wisdom, spiritual focus, and sovereignty to your sun. So it often appears in the charts of people who are learning to trust their inner authority and who help others do the same. So that feels deeply aligned with your work around priestesshood, medicine ways, and embodied sovereignty. Then we have your Mercury conjunct the Great Attractor, which is such a fascinating placement for someone who guides sacred journeys. So, Mercury is what you think about and what you talk about for hours and hours, right? It's like your learning style, how you communicate, how you express. And it's how we share ideas. It's teaching, it's storytelling. And the Great Attractor, which is another one of those super cosmic points in galactic astrology, it carries a magnetic quality. It pulls people towards expansion and new perspectives. And so, what this suggests to me is that your words are part of your medicine. So, people may come for the retreat, for the temples, for the water, the experience. But what truly shifts them is something that you say, or a question that you ask them, or a perspective that you offer that changes how they see themselves. And so your voice just naturally invites people into a bigger story. Then your North Node, which is the top of the moon, the moment you were born, is conjunct the fixed royal star Regulus. And this is a beautiful signature. So, Regulus has long been associated with leadership, integrity, and heart centered authority. And so, the North Node points towards your soul growth and your evolutionary path. So, that's your assignment in this life. So if you aren't doing your North Node assignment, you're basically not going to be able to manifest. It's going to feel like you're slamming your head against a brick wall over and over again, right? It's like you have to do your assignment. This tells me that part of your purpose is not just spiritual leadership, but it's embodied leadership. It's about bringing sacred wisdom into practical service. So Virgo reminds us that the divine is found not only in temples and ceremonies, but also in devotion, care, healing, and daily practice. So, as a nurse, as a healer, as a retreat guide, you are living that frequency so beautifully. And I forgot to mention that your North Node is in Virgo. So, I also love your Pluto conjunct Buddhist Arcturus in the 5th house. So, Arcturus is often associated with advanced healing wisdom, consciousness, innovation, and transformation. So, Pluto is this planet of intensity. It intensifies whatever it touches. And in the 5th house, this energy flows through your creativity, your self expression, your joy, and spiritual initiation. And so this tells me that your creativity itself is transformative. The experiences that you create become catalysts for healing. People don't just participate in your offerings, they are changed by them. There's a profound alchemical quality here where beauty and ritual and sacred experience become vehicles for deep transformation. And then lastly, your Saturn is conjunct the supergalactic center. And this speaks to someone who has been entrusted with carrying profound wisdom responsibly. So Saturn, Big Daddy Saturn, asks us to mature into our gifts, right? So he puts us through our paces so that we can become masterful at something, okay? So the supergalactic center expands our perspective towards something much larger than ourselves. And so this often appears in the charts of people who are building something that will outlast them, something rooted in legacy, stewardship, and service. And so when I put this all together, my sister, I see the chart of a being who is not merely facilitating healing experiences. I see someone who serves as a bridge between worlds, between both ancient and modern, spirit and body, memory and embodiment, water and land, human and divine. And so it really just carries this signature of a sacred guide whose greatest gift is helping people remember what their souls have known all along. And perhaps that's why Kemet calls to you so strongly. Not because you're taking people somewhere new, but because you're helping them return to something ancient, familiar, and true within themselves.
You're
So
making
I
me
said a
tear up.
lot.
This is so,
How is this landing? How do you feel?
my eyes are tearing because I'm like, this is so on the nail. I don't think I've ever had anybody put it together in this way. Wow, Heather.
Yay.
Wow.
You're so multi-galactic. I mean, truly, truly multi-galactic. And
Mixed blood
you've,
even there.
yeah. And you're exactly, yes. And you've done this many, many times before. Many, many times before. Thank you for trusting me to look at your placements.
Thank you so much. This was wow, wow. I'm curious. I know we're not going to do that right now, but for folks that would like to know specifically their connection to Egypt or maybe even Lemuria and Atlantis, because I know they're all connected with each other.
Yes.
Are you able to focus on those particular if they're booking a session with you?
Yes, absolutely. They just need to let me know that they would like me to focus on those ancient asteroids because there's so much we can go into. That's the amazing thing about astrology is that there's just so many layers to it and I want to meet people where they are. And some people don't care about ancient asteroids and their connections to ancient civilizations and some people are really really into it. And I think our people, right, the people that are going to be going on this trip, yeah, this is probably what you want to focus on for sure, right? There's an Egyptian Atlantis crossover, by the way. So
Makes
that's
sense.
always interesting to find. I have that in my chart, but also there's Lemurian asteroids. There are Hyperborea asteroids. So that's before Lemuria. Hyperborea, Lemuria, Atlantis, and then ancient Egypt. So just let me
Wow.
know. Reach out to me. This is my favorite thing to do. I just find it so inspiring. And I feel like whenever I give somebody a reading, because this is what happened when I gave a reading to myself, they leave just feeling so inspired, so expansive, and with way more confidence and power in themselves because it's just like, oh, I've done this. I've done this. I am powerful. I chose to be here at this time
Yes.
because I've done this before.
Done this before. And when the fear comes up, when the fear turns up, right? That's when you know it's like, oh, okay. More fear coming. Okay, cool. We can still do it though. You know, we're not letting fear or doubts hold us back, especially as we up level. I don't know if you find that in your world too when you up level. It's like old
Yeah.
stuff coming up, especially right now with this pizza retrograde,
Mm-hmm.
Mercury retrograde.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I definitely find that in my world. Yes. I mean, we have to purge, right? The stuff that no longer serves us to make room. We can't get to where we want to go if we're still vibrating at these old lower frequencies, right? So some things have just got to go and it's very uncomfortable. And I think it's so helpful to know that is what is supposed to be happening, right? So that you can flow with it. You can go with it. You're not fighting with yourself. You're going to create a lot more pain for yourself when you fight and resist. It's just like, let it go, right? Be like the water, flow like the water. So, my dear, what else do people need to know about this retreat? We know that the discount codes that I have expire on the 23rd of July.
Yes.
What else do we want people to know?
So I think for folks, it's important to know this is for males and females. It's for everybody that feels called. So it has nothing to do if you're a man or a woman. This is for everybody that is ready to have access to their deepest power. I travel all over the world and I love going to big sacred portals where you can feel the energy of the prayers over millennia. So if you're feeling your call, we have Affirm, we have Klarna. If you wanted to put it on a payment plan, we also have our own payment plan if you want to avoid those fees. And right now, you can still save your spot also till the 23rd for $19.99. And then your deposit will go up. I think it's $23.33 for your standard ticket. And then for the VIP, it's a little bit more. I think it's $2,222 right now to reserve your spot. And then you can pay the rest off in 3 payments. So it's accessible, and I think for people that want to come, this is a soul aligned trip. This is not a trip where you're pushing or making it work or feeling like you're going against the grain or the energy of the universe. I truly believe when it's the right time for you, ask for it and then release how whatever challenge you have to overcome potentially, which is part of the first initiation, to come and join. And then let the universe surprise you with how it's giving you the winks and that red thread to carry you exactly to where you're meant to be. And when you have doubts, I encourage you to ask yourself, is this mine? Is it true? And one of the things I really love, and I like to share that with you guys, because a lot is happening right now. A sentence I like to say, which I've learned from my elder indigenous teacher, which is, I send everything that doesn't belong to me back to its source with love. I send everything that doesn't belong to me back to its source with love. And if you want to add a little extra power to it, open your hand, take a big deep breath and blow into your hand and imagine whatever's not yours is going back to its source. It's a powerful reset, especially if your mind is circling and you're having a hard time getting into your center. Release what's not yours.
Love it. Such wise words. And I forgot to mention that anybody who signs up through me, through my discount codes, gets an additional 30-minute Aquarian age initiation reading with me. I forgot. I don't know. Things are slipping my mind these days, but I will be sure to put all that information in the show notes as well. This is going to be magical. This was divinely organized. When Paola and I met pre-COVID in the before times, we just came together like, oh, I really like you, right? I love your vibe. We just vibed from the jump. And I know I'm supposed to go on this trip with you. So thank you again so much for trusting me, for inviting me. I'm so honored. This is going to be so beautiful. I'm just very, very thankful for you. Thank you.
I'm so thankful for you too. And yes, our friendship and connection has just deepened over the years. And if you haven't gotten a reading by our beloved Heather, I highly recommend it. I usually do once around my birthday. And when I mentioned to you that I've gotten some clarity, like literally throughout my whole life, when she was pointing out different aspects that are important, I was like, oh, this is when this happened. This is when that happened. And it was beautiful to have that reflection and that connection and sharing that with her. And, you were not surprised at all. She's like, yeah, I know my magic girl. What do you mean? So, yes, I want to also say this is for the ones that we're not apologetic for our gifts and our magic and our power no more. And I think it's been a long time since we had the opportunity to show up in our magic and our glory and our beauty and all of the things that we are and get to walk around and mostly free in this way. And so that's the frequency we're doing. Let's free everyone up. It's time.
It is time. It's so time. Well, okay. So if people want to learn more about you, about the retreat, where should they go?
So easiest ways to connect with us at takemetoegyptretreat.com. I also have our Instagram account, which is paola.ashtar, my ancient Egyptian name, where you can also see a lot of beautiful footage of where we're going, So you have more feeling of where we're staying at these luxurious places. And next, what's happening around the 8/8 portal, I will be doing another Oshun ceremony by the river. So if you're in California and Los Angeles, we will go and have Oshun prayers and blessings. And I want to share one more thing of what it means when we listen to spirit without questioning what spirit tells us. I'm going to share a little story. So I've been doing Oshun ceremonies for years now, which is our Sweetwater deity. She loves yellow and gold and opulence. And her origin story, which is always how I start out, that she was actually one of the most betrayed orishas. And that when she deserted herself into the moon, she fell in love with herself and realized she actually doesn't need anyone but herself and God. So they begged her to come back, and she made the earth flourish again because the earth dried up when she was betrayed in that way. And anyway, so I've been doing these ceremonies for a while, and I just came back from Oregon where me and Heather met at Spirit Weavers, a woman's retreat. And as I was walking to get my things ready, I always ask God, tell me how you want me to do this way. So I always give room for flowing. And they didn't say anything. They just give me pictures, images, and they told me pour oil over their third eye and pour honey over their body. And so the reason why I'm sharing this, there's an evolution of who we are and how we show up. And if you're ready to get honey poured down, your throat chakra down to your heart chakra, do your lowest portal, just come and get that honey on you to get that sweetness in your life. And it's a great way to manifest sweetness and abundance in your life. So that's what's coming up next.
Come get that honey. I love
Come
it.
get the honey.
Come get the sweetness. I love it. All right. Amazing. Sis, you are fantastic. I have one last question I want to ask you. So I asked this of you the first time you were on the show, but I'm asking return guests the question again because the answer changes. So I want to know, what are the new cycles that you are starting in your lineages now?
The new cycles I'm starting in my lineage is the reclamation of the opulent abundance, the reclamation of our deep ancestral plant medicine connection. I think I started that after we spoke the first time. So making things with my hand has been a vision that they gave me. Your hands are, hold a frequency. And so creating things with my hands that support us in our body, in our frequency. And what other cycle am I breaking? That 6-figure bracket, I might be the first one in my family to hit that. So many more, but I think that's what's current right now.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for sharing yourself, your medicine, your gifts with my community. So blessed to call you a sister. And thanks again for being on the show and for being in dialogue with me. It's truly an honor.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you, community, for listening. And we will see you very soon.
We will. All right, you guys. This retreat is going to be off the chain. So if it calls to you, all of the links will be in the show notes. And we hope to see you there in Kemet. All right. We will see you next time on the Cycle Starters podcast. Take care. Thanks, Paola. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.